Welcome to the call, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome all of you to Origin LGNS. It's all about the power of compounding and it's all about consistency because you'll see over the next few minutes that consistency gives us an amazing advantage. Now, this presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. Digital assets and decentralized finance involves risk, including market volatility, smart contract risk, liquidity risk, regulatory uncertainty, and potential loss of capital. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Participants should do their own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making financial decisions. Nothing presented here guarantees incomes or returns. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'd like to start with the question. Do you have a savings account? Well, of course, most people have savings accounts. And for decades, that's been the safe place to keep money. But today, the average savings account in the US earns only 0.4% to 0.6% annual percentage yield that doesn't keep up with inflation. In other words, most people, their money is sitting and not working. Now, something new has emerged because of advances in financial technology. And of course, we're all familiar with what's happening with AI. It is really taking things to the next level. But most people don't understand that finances have also improved because of amazing technology. This technology is called decentralized finance. It's fully on chain, it's decentralized. It is run entirely by computer code. It's 100% automated. There is no day trading involved. You don't have to log in every day. You have 100% access to your funds at all times. There's no recruiting required. You have instant withdrawals. Your staking compounds 3 times daily. This platform is established, it's long term, and it is verifiable and transparent, as you're about to see. So, we're talking about DeFi, better known as decentralized finance. It's banking without banks. It gives everyday people like you and I the ability to earn and grow wealth directly. It's all powered by computer code instead of corporations. So, DeFi introduces a different idea. Instead of money sitting idle, it can be deployed to compound automatically through blockchain-based financial systems. For the first time, individuals like you and I can access tools once limited to institutions. Systems designed to let time, math, and technology work together for our benefit. But let's talk about institutions, ladies and gentlemen, because as it relates to institutions, every single financial transaction in the world, a middleman is taking a cut. Let's take a look at a few examples. Of course, when we use those credit cards, well, somebody's taking a cut. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, right? American Express on every transaction. We order through Amazon, and they're going to take a percentage. We take an Uber or a Lyft, and they keep 25 to 30%. We rent Airbnb, and they're going to keep a percentage as well. These companies don't create transactions. They sit between the two parties and they collect a fee. Let's take a look at some real world numbers. Up to May 2025, Coinbase had earned over $196 million from fees. Visa over 35 billion, MasterCard 28 billion, and PayPal $29 billion, ladies and gentlemen. That's almost $100 billion from collecting fees. Every buy, every sell, and every transaction, whether the market goes up, down, or sideways, these institutions are benefiting because they've all figured out the same thing. Stop being the customer, become the infrastructure. The middleman always wins. Let's take a closer look at that. So Uber doesn't care where you're going. They're going to collect on every trip. Visa doesn't care what you buy. They collect on every purchase. And exchanges don't care if traders win or lose. They collect on every trade. They're positioned to make money regardless. So here's the real question. How can I get on that side of the equation? How do I stop paying fees and start collecting them? The answer is to become the middleman. That's what we want to talk with you about tonight. And today, technology makes this possible for you and I by providing liquidity for digital assets using a protocol called Origin LGNS. This creates the potential for you and I to earn income every single day and to create long-term wealth accumulation. So how does this work exactly? Well, you deposit digital assets into a collective liquidity pool that other traders borrow from to make trades. Every time someone trades using the pool, a small fee is earned. And this is where the money comes from. And so when we stake and we provide this liquidity, we become partners with this protocol. Let me give you a really good example. We all deposit money in the bank, and we know that the bank uses our funds to loan out mortgages, car loans, credit cards, and even trade on the stock market. But they don't really share those profits with us. In fact, what they pay us is very little. Well, suppose when we deposited money in the bank, we actually became a partner of the bank and they paid us a percentage of the profits that they made. That's what this is. As a liquidity provider, you become a partner of the protocol. So instead of your assets sitting idle, they're working on your behalf 24/7. Think of it like owning a beach property in Miami, for example. You can let that property sit empty, or you can rent it out and get paid. Every week, tenants pay to use the property. Liquidity pools pay daily and work the very same way. You're renting out your digital assets rather than just letting them sit. Or think of it as a toll road. It doesn't matter where people are going, you collect a fee every time they pass through, except now you're the middleman. That's the power of being a liquidity provider, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, I want to introduce you to an innovative platform called Origin LGNS. It's a Web3 staking protocol. It's all about the power of decentralized finance. Let's take a closer look at it. So, what makes Origin different, you might be saying, because there's a lot of different projects out there. Well, first of all, a 6-year history of smart contract success. Their first project, called Olympus Home, has been running successfully for over 6 years. It was patterned after the model of the Federal Reserve Bank. After that came Origin LGNS, we're talking with you about tonight, that has been running successfully for over 23 months. And as of today, this project and community continues to grow. But listen, you don't have to take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at the numbers. A liquidity pool is over $391 million. The market cap is over $7.4 billion. The daily trading volume over 42 million, and there are over 1.8 million wallets from individuals just like you and I connected to this protocol all around the world. And the smart contract, the computer code, it is verified and it is audited and it is renounced. No one can touch the money. However, the money that you stake in this protocol, that's liquid. You can withdraw it, all of it or part of it, anytime you want. It'll be in your wallet within seconds. Your funds are not locked down. So we believe in trust, but more importantly, verification. And so one of the things you're going to see here is that this protocol has been verified by the largest blockchain security auditor in the world, called CertiK, ladies and gentlemen. This is the same company that verifies Binance, the exchange, and even Uniswap. You might be familiar with them. But not only is this information readily available to anyone on the internet, you should know that Origin also has been featured on CertiK's leaderboard, recognized as a leading real-world asset emerging sector, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see it right here. We were rated number 3 out of the top 3 emerging real-world sector projects. We have a AA rating, which is the best you can get, and a Skynet score of over 86.91. All right. In addition to that, the Treasury, where the funds are held, that has also been audited by the top company that does this type of thing, is called Armors Labs, and that information is also readily available online. All right, so what I want to do, we want to go live to the market right now to show you a few things in real time. Again, I hope you have a pen and a piece of paper. You're going to want to jot down a few notes. So Dex2s.io, a decentralized exchange. You can see we are live on the internet right now. You can see that the current value of the coin is $6.43. And of course, the value of the coin is going to fluctuate as people engage in buy and sell, which is the normal process of the market. But the great thing, because we are liquidity providers, we make money when people buy and when people sell. That's where the money comes from. This is real business. All right. And then our focus also is not the price. Our focus is accumulation over time as a result of compounding. And we're going to talk about that a little more going forward. But let's take a look at some of the details. So these are real-time numbers. The liquidity is over $391 million. The market cap, $7.3 billion. The number of holders or wallets connected to this protocol, over 1.81 million individuals all around the world. You can also see that this protocol was established on March the 6th, 2024. In another week or two, it'll be 2 years old. In addition to that, you can see that this protocol is also listed on CoinMarketCap. You can go to CoinMarketCap. You can type in Origin LGNS, and you will also see details concerning the project. You see these numbers here. All right, very similar to what you saw on the live DEX tools. In addition to that, there's another protocol. We believe in verification, ladies and gentlemen. And so I'm on another website. It's called Avi AI. And in Avi AI, you can also take a look at the audits, right? I'm going to click on audit right here. And right here, I want to click on this. And you'll notice a lot of green checks. You can also see this information on CoinMarketCap. Renounce. What does that mean? The contract is renounced. The developers cannot change anything. This contract and this protocol will last as long as the internet exists. It doesn't look like honeypots. Honeypots are situations where the developer allows you to buy the coin, but it doesn't allow you to sell the coin. Nothing like that happens here. People can buy and they can sell. The contract is open source. Anyone can see everything involving this protocol because everything is transparent. As I mentioned, the owners cannot tamper with the balance. They cannot touch the money. They cannot take back ownership of the protocol. The admin privileges have been abandoned. This protocol literally belongs to the world, ladies and gentlemen, just like Bitcoin belongs to the world. But let's go a little further. I'm going to go live into the protocol right now, and I want to show you a few things. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you 3 examples of liquidity into the platform. We're going to take a look at $600, what that could potentially do for you. We're going to take a look at 6,000, and we're going to take a look at $16,000. So there's something here for everyone based on where you are right now. But I want to start with this. So we know that the current value of the coin is about $6.42. And you can see that this specific account has 93 LGNS staked. If I put my cursor on this little eye, you can see that's about $600. So what I'm going to do right now is show you potentially what $600 could do for you if you staked it in this protocol. Now, the first thing I want you to see is that the APY, the annual percentage yield, is over 800%. What does that mean? That means that your staking has the potential to literally double 8 times within 1 year. Now, here's the thing. That's without you talking to anyone, and you have access to your money at all times. So now let's take a look at the yield. So the next reward yield, or the compounding rate, is 0.2020, and it compounds 3 times a day, every 8 hours. You'll also see that the 5-day rate is 3.0740. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the number of LGNS, which we know is about $600, and I'm going to come down here to a calculator, which is built right inside of the protocol. And I'm going to show you just a few things here. All right. So this can be used for income, and it can also be used for wealth development, or a combination of both. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can engage with this. So let's just say that you wanted to create some income here, and you started with as little as $600. Based on the compounding rate, and by the way, everything I'm showing you here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is not a guarantee of income. In fact, we can't guarantee income to you. It's absolutely illegal. But we can show you what the projections are, and the projections are all based on math. Okay, so I want you to see here, this $600 staked for 1 month, based on these numbers, could potentially grow to $726. So that means this person could generate $100 a month simply by staking that $600 here, which is actually pretty good. And if they allow this to stake for an entire year, allow that compounding and that time to be an ally for them, in 1 year, I want you to see that $600, based on these numbers, could potentially grow to over $5,000, ladies and gentlemen. That same $600 that you paid maybe for that suit, or you went on a little weekend getaway, whatever, that same $600, if it were in the right place and you used it properly, it could potentially grow, and it could be pretty significant. All right. So that's not too bad. But let's just see what could happen with that same $600 if you allowed it to compound for 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. All I'm going to do is take that 1 year number and put it up here and allow it to go for another year. I want you to see here, that's over 50K. So what's so interesting about this is that time is going to pass anyway. The good Lord willing, right? We wake up tomorrow, time is going to pass. But in this case, you're leveraging that time for your advantage. Can you see that? Very, very powerful. But let's go a little further. Let's say that you staked, we're going to say $6,000 here instead of 600. Okay. All right. And so 6,000 would be 923 LGNS. All right. So 6,000 staked here. I want you to see in 1 month that could potentially grow to $7,100. So I want you to see this. If this person wanted, they could withdraw everything above the 6,000 and they can live off of it. So in this case, that would be $1,100, right? They have 6,000 here. In 1 month, that's going to grow based on these numbers to 7,100. So they just created cash flow of $1,100 a month, all right, from that $6,000. Let's just say that they do this for an entire year. So that would be 1,100 times 12. So let's do a little math. 1,100 times 12. And they just potentially created a secondary income of $13,200 for themselves. Here's the thing, they didn't have to talk to anyone. They didn't have to log in every day. And they have access to all their money at any time. Should an emergency come up, they need to tap into it, they can take the money. It'll be in their wallet instantly. All right. So that's not bad, right? An additional $13,000. You didn't have to work for Lyft. You didn't have to take a part-time job, right? You didn't have to do anything except stake. But now let's just say instead of withdrawing that $1,100 a month, you allowed compounding to be your ally because the longer you compound, the greater the gains. And let's say you allowed this money to compound, this 6,000 to compound for an entire year. Based on these numbers, what could that potentially do for you? Well, you can see the numbers. That's over 54K. 6,000 to 54K. All you did was stake. You became a liquidity provider. You can withdraw whatever you need whenever you want. You get an emergency, you can withdraw it all. It's really that powerful and that simple. But let's go a little further. Suppose you allowed this to compound for 2 years. I just want to show you what this could potentially do for you. That same 2 years, that's going to pass anyway, right? But now your money is working on your behalf. Can you see these numbers, ladies and gentlemen? That's multiple six figures. All right, let's go a little further because everyone is not in the same situation. For example, let's say you started with $16,000. That would be 2461. First thing I want to show you, that $16,000, if you staked it here, that could potentially provide you with a $3,000 a month recurring income that you could live off of. Just that fast. It starts compounding the very first day, right? But let's say that you didn't want to live off that 3,000 because that would be 3,000 times 12, right? $36,000 for the year. All right. So that's 16,000 could provide you $36,000 in yearly income at $3,000 a month. Okay, that's pretty good, quite frankly, right? In some cases, that could pay maybe your entire monthly budget. But suppose you didn't withdraw that 36,000 and you allowed that to compound for an entire year. I want you to see that's over 144,000. So you can choose take the 36,000 or let it compound, and now you have 144,000. All right. Just wanted you to see that. Let's go one more step further, and you can strategize with this calculator yourself once you get in to see what strategy is going to work best for you. Let's just say you allowed that to compound for 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to see, of course, that's over 7 figures. Now you're talking about the potential to leave an inheritance to your grandchildren. That's the power of compounding, and that's the power of being a liquidity provider. Hopefully that helps you out. And we have in-depth training periodically where we talk about different strategies moving forward. But let's go a little further here. So let me ask you something, ladies and gentlemen. What if the real opportunity in digital assets wasn't predicting price that most people try to do, but positioning yourself inside the system that collects fees? Because the biggest winners in finance aren't the traders. It's the platforms, it's the exchanges, it's the infrastructure, and it is the liquidity providers. And until recently, that side of the equation wasn't accessible to everyday people like you and I, but now it is. That's what being a liquidity provider is all about. Instead of hoping the market goes up and down, you position yourself so activity itself pays you. Instead of just owning digital assets, your assets are working every single day and night, even while you sleep. Now, here's the part that most people don't think about. The same year will pass whether your money compounds or not. Time is always moving. The question is whether our money is moving with it. And the truth is, waiting another year to learn this could cost you thousands in miscompounding. So that's the real risk. Not learning too early, learning too late. Today isn't about hype. It's about understanding a system that already exists and that is powering over 1.8 million people around the world for the last 2 years, and you didn't know anything about it. So if you'd like to learn how to connect a wallet, how to access this liquidity pool, and how to get set up with Origin LGNS step by step, simply contact the person who invited you here tonight. They will answer all your questions and they will literally walk you through the process to show you how to get started. It is really that simple. Listen, we look forward to partnering with you and we look forward to celebrating your success. I like to close with this. The best way to predict the future is to create it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the opportunity to do just that, and we can do it together.